Hello, and welcome to episode 153 of Conservatish. This is volume 2 of the best of Conservatish. And you are joining me here in my sumptuous Upper West Side apartment, as you can tell from those boxes over there. I made my bed for you, you see. And make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Make sure you like and rate and review and share it with your less offendable friends. And you can find me on Patreon at patreon.com/Conservatish, on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, and on TikTok at Conservatish, and on Twitter at Rule62Peter, I believe. Yeah. So first up is going to be a clip from episode 73, which is a clip with my dad, Ric Feliciano. He's an amazing, legendary horn arranger and trombone player, and actually plays every instrument almost. And this was about a year and a half ago when he was coming in to promote his album, Latin Rhythm Boys, called Celebrando. And so we got to talk about music and failure and success, and also annoying musicians. This was a highly requested clip for the best of, and I hope you enjoy it.
Very cool. How was it when you were growing up, when you first picked up a trombone? You were like 13, 14?
So no, I was younger. I was in the 4th grade.
Wow.
In Brooklyn, New York. Yay, Brooklyn.
Yay,
East Coast.
Brooklyn.
Pizza. Anyway.
Yeah. Bagels.
Brooklyn, New York, when music departments had money, when schools were smart enough to keep money funded, arts and music funded in the arts, school departments back east, especially in New York, changed lives like mine, changed the trajectory of our lives by handing an instrument to every 4th grader.
Just like that.
Because they did that, I have a career.
Wow.
Because they did that, I play today. Right. If they didn't do that, I probably wouldn't play today.
Right.
And schools today, don't get me on the soapbox, but schools today, for some reason, they think only the brain. We're going to only support the brain.
Right.
I have a student, an adult student from India. He's an engineer at Apple.
Right.
And he solves all kinds of stuff. But sometimes he codes, and he runs into a problem. He picks up his saxophone, plays for a half hour, puts himself in a creative state, and then finds an out-of-box solution for his thing.
Right.
Descartes, Da Vinci, Einstein, all these guys were musicians. Right. Hello, guys.
Right.
We don't solve problems with just our minds, school districts.
Right.
We don't solve all problems with just our minds. We solve it with a soul, with a spirit, with the whole man. Do not take away part of us. We solve with our whole mind, with our whole soul, with our whole spirit. That guy is solving all kinds of problems in Apple, and he said his secret weapon is his saxophone.
That's amazing. That is not something that that I would think would be natural. You know what I mean? But it totally makes a lot of sense.
People have this misnomer: musicians, they're dumb. What about this? Musicians. What you don't realize is we are mathematicians and scientists. A lot of us are really good at math and really good at science. I had a really good I was in an electrical engineering thing for a minute.
Right.
I had a 3.25, but that's not where my heart was.
Right.
My mind was there. My heart was not there.
Right.
And that's another thing. It's taken me my whole life to get to this point, to find out what the will of God is for my life, where I'm supposed to be, why am I here on this earth. And it's taken me up to this point, for some reason, till late 50s, to finally culminate with this album and finally realize I have something to say before I go.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
and I've been playing my whole life.
Right, none of it.
But it's been
wasted.
No,
right?
None of it's been wasted. In fact, it's all been necessary. But along the way, musicians and people get distracted.
Right.
They start out doing what they're good at.
Right.
And then we all get distracted by life. We all get distracted by earning a living, and we I mean, I meet people all the time that put away their instrument or put away their brush for paint for painting, or put away their idea for writing a book. They give up their dreams, and they just they're miserable.
Right.
You know, and they get distracted. I keep telling them, go back to what you're supposed to be doing. Find out that one or two things that you're really good at. Design a life out of that, and then everything else falls into place. As soon as I decided that about maybe 15, 20 years ago, I mean, I've had successes back then, earlier, but then I kept on getting distracted, and kept on getting forced upon life. Continued to force, you know, to thwart everything.
Right.
And finally, I decided, the day I decided, I am a musician forever, for the rest of my life.
Right.
I am a songwriter. I am a horn player. And then one day I had to say I am a singer, because I didn't realize I was a singer until someone, I think it was Phil Driscoll, when I was recording an album with him, he said, you know, you're a singer. It's like, no, I'm not a singer. I'm just, you know, because and it took me 10 years to come to grips with, I guess I am a singer. You know? But it's so sometimes we believe a lie or whatever.
Oh yes. Do you also think it's fear too? Because for me, like it's a sub way down in my belly is that fear of, like, I can't make it, I can't do it. What if I'm not good? What if I'm really good, but I just don't get seen? Blah blah blah. And then I just feel like in little ways I make little decisions that add up to big decisions to just not go for it. You know what I mean?
That's what happens. You know, we get afraid of the moment. Like this moment that I am right now, I can't believe. I think 5 years ago. Here's the deal. I think God takes us, and I have to just bring God into it, because that's just the way it is.
Yes, sir.
I think God takes us to different levels, different things that we can handle. Okay. What's happening now with the album now, and people getting all, you know, crazy about it, whatever, I don't know if I would have been able to handle that 5-10 years ago.
Okay.
And I have to admit that, you know, and I have to look back and say, you know what? Thank God that didn't happen back then, or 10, 15 years ago, because I was a different person. Right. And I wasn't ready for that. But I am ready for it now. Nothing's scaring me now, because I know I am finally being aligned with the perfect will of God, what I'm supposed to be doing on this earth before I go. But to get to that point, guys, we all go through hell. Right. We go through crap. We don't just decide, oh, I'm going to... No, we go through all kinds of frustration. We come to all kinds of cursing out all kinds of people, including God. And just like, man, you know, like, what the hell, man? Like, why do I have to go through this crap? Right. I mean, I went through divorce. I went through all kinds of stuff that are painful. Right. Painful. I no money, poor for a while, for years, you know, and that adds layers of dimensions to your life, that you turn around and utilize to create music. Right. Musicians go through crap. Right. We all go through crap, but then we utilize that to create fantastic music. Right. Music that is really good, sometimes, a lot of times, comes from a heart and from a life that has gone through a lot of stuff. Right. And sometimes when I perform, sometimes the worst day of my life, sometimes I perform the best. And I don't know why. Why that is. I come off the stage, man, that solo was great. It's like, you had no idea the day I had.
Right. I had this, I was talking about it, but this last song on the album that I'm making was kind of all about that. It was about fear, and I knew it was about fear, and I knew what the structure of the song was going to be, and I had it, but I didn't have the lyrics, and I had the drums and the guitar, and I had 8 other songs that I was working and finalizing and tweaking and getting right and blah, 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 but I was just I didn't know it at the time, but I was so afraid of writing the lyrics and cementing the lyrics and doing it wrong, that it wouldn't sound good, or that it wouldn't blah, 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 that I didn't write the fucking lyrics for like a year. And then I finally, like, I put myself in a position where I told Gowan Matthews, the producer, I was like, okay, we're going to do recording on March 27th. And like on the 26th, I was like, yep, I have the lyrics ready. So I literally had to that night just force myself into it for like 2 hours.
All the time. Guys, when you're having a problem, a freaking problem, Give yourself a deadline. It is such a fantastic tool.
Right.
When you put yourself, there was this one time where it's like some artist called, say, hey, can you play 2 days from now? You know, and it's like, yes, I can. And like I gave myself a commitment, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I said yes to that guy, because I had to like now ram up and get ready and you put yourself behind the 8 ball. When you do that, you call up all kinds of great stuff inside.
Right.
You have to pay the price and put yourself at risk. Mm-hmm. Great stuff happens when you put yourself at risk.
That's why I'm going to, that's why I keep saying
That's
September.
That's why I'm so proud of you.
To New York.
New York. It's a crazy thing to leave the nest, to leave the comfort zone.
Right.
But that's what you kind of got to do. Sometimes you got to strike. And if you fail, actually, failing is a secret that people don't realize. Failing, that's when you realize you learn so many things. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying that there are different things. It's not going to manifest itself the way you think. It's going to actually be better.
Right.
But you don't know what it is yet.
Right.
But it will be better, actually. And then you turn around and it's like, wow, that was a really good move.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can tell, like, and you think about something. I'm not a big subscriber to the idea that, like, oh, worry, like, you manifest it, because I mean I've thought some insane things, the worst, like my brain is crazy, but I do think there is something to the idea that, like, you meditate on something long enough, or you you have these fantasies about what it is, and not that you get expectations of what it would be, but you almost do manifest it. You know what I mean? Like, you almost do call it out a bit. You know what I mean? Like, if I just think, oh, if I just shoot low, then I'll just have a low life. But if I shoot high, you know what I mean, and think about what I want.
You gotta take a chance, man. Sometimes that's why some people. I have this friend who's been working on this album for 7 years. So come on, man. Step away from the stove. The sauce is done.
Right.
Shut the oven off.
Right.
Put it out.
Right.
And get to the next one. Because sometimes you can mess around and crap around with the mix, whatever, and it's like messing around with, the sauce. The spaghetti sauce was fantastic, and then you messed around with it because you kept on dealing with it and dig around.
And it's supposed to be eaten. Yeah. Like, we're supposed to enjoy it. It doesn't have to be the perfect meal.
Take a chance. It's not going to be perfect. There is no perfect music out there, guys. There's no perfect mix. There's no perfect musician. We just are what we are. In fact, people love us with our imperfections.
Shout out to my fans of the podcast.
I mean, look at this imperfection.
I know.
Look at this specimen of imperfection.
It's oh, God bless you, people.
But we are, when we live real and live imperfected, I'm completely imperfect. Yeah. That's when, for some reason, when you live real, that's when the really good stuff happens. Sometimes I'm teaching a lesson and I get something wrong. I'm helping them and I get something wrong, and I have to just cop right to it right then and there, because kids know when you're bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? So
you'll be teaching a lesson.
So I have to just say, you know what? What I just said there, ignore. I was wrong. Here's the deal. And they smile and say, okay, cool. And they learn that, you know what I mean? It was just a process. It's a process.
Right.
Because they are learning so much from me, but they also are learning that I'm not perfect. And they don't have to be perfect then. Right.
They don't really have to hide who they are. Yeah. There are some people who, and I'm sure you can speak vaguely about some musicians about people who don't want to acknowledge that they messed up, or who live all wrapped up in their ego. They don't. Eventually, I think it just stops creation. You know what I mean?
There's this one trumpet player who shall be nameless, who was on a hit. I can't say the name of the artist either. But this artist won multiple Grammys.
Sure.
And he's one of my friends, and I did not use him on this album. He asked me, how come you didn't use me on the album? And I had to tell him, I have my musicians. What I really didn't want to tell him is that his head is expanded to the point of,
he can't fit in the room.
I'm just like, and I've done, I've played. He always wants to be introduced to every gig that I hire him. He wants to be introduced as the trumpet player for so and so and so and so. And it's like, why do you I played with Billy Joel, and I did. I played with Billy Joel, Paul Simon, Foreigner, once upon a time. I don't live in the past and say, you know what? I want to be introduced or whatever. The past is the past. You got to move forward. And what did you do for me lately? What have you done for me today? What are you doing now? What are you doing tomorrow? Right. That's what you got to live. And you can't just bore. It's like taking out family pictures and boring the crap out of people. And you know, there was this guy. This is when I decided I will never use this guy.
Right.
We were performing
same
at
guy
a
or a
huge
different guy?
same guy. We were performing at a jazz festival with 10,000 people out there. And 3 horn players, me, him, and the sax player. And he stepped away when we started soloing. So I did not get hired to play solos in this particular gig. And me and the sax player looked at each other. It's like, no problem, step over there. We just, me and the sax player, we were like, had people going crazy. Me and him trading back and forth. So we were getting people crazy. Crazy people were going crazy over our solos. And the trumpet player, Mr. Prideful, was like, oh, and then he looked like an idiot.
Right.
Because he missed the moment. Because when you decide that you are more important than the music and the moment than the people out there who paid a lot of money to see you play, you need to give them you need to give your heart to 110%. The hell with what you did in the past. Stop living in the past. Stop living in, you're not more important.
Did he think that he should be getting paid more to solo? Is that, or can he not solo very well?
It's not in my contract.
It's not in my contract. Yeah.
Stop it.
Gross.
Come on, man.
What's wrong with you?
It just, and sometimes he cracks way up on the high, and I needed someone secure. So I used the Grammy winner actually on this album. There's a bunch of Grammy. Actually, in this album, there are about 7 or 8 different Grammy winners.
Awesome.
I loaded it up. Not just me, but Earl Miranda is the part owner of the Latin Rhythm Boys. It's his family that started this whole project 60 years ago. His father started it. His father's name is Junior Miranda, and he started this thing. This is a 3rd generation project. Wow. And Earl Miranda and his brother Henry Miranda are the brainchilds of this thing. I came in and was the music guy, and so the 3 of us make a fantastic team to formulate this next generation. And this is a celebration. Celebrando is introducing the world of Latin Rhythm Boys, and we are celebrating 60 years of music.
Wasn't that lovely? Yeah, that was great. I really love him. And next up is a clip from episode 140. This is Alex, Conley, and I talking about George Floyd and the riots afterwards, and what it's like to live in Detroit, and also, most importantly, what it's like to hear that liberals want to defund the police.
One of the things that really bothered me as far as calling it like it is, when I was looking at, there's got to be a reason besides just race, because if you look at the actual thing in Minneapolis, you're looking at 2 of the 4 cops who were there, who were involved, were Asian. Derek.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know 2. Okay.
Yeah, it was 2-0, and I think the other guy's name I can't remember, but it's a fucking Asian name. I haven't seen the guy's picture, but come on. Okay. Nobody from Nebraska. Nobody from Nebraska has an Asian name. And not just that. Chauvin, whatever the guy's last name, was he being a piece of shit? Absolutely. Here's my personal view on it. I think Chauvin was being an asshole. Okay. And I think he was abusing his power. I think he was trying to hurt George. But first things first, I don't think he was trying to kill him. Let's just take, by saying he got lynched, that implies intent. You're telling me that this, even if he was the most evil racist in the world, he knows he's getting videoed. How in the sweet hot fuck would a guy knowing he's being videoed actually kill a motherfucker right there on the street? Was he being abused of power? Absolutely. But intent, lynching, stop.
In every single one of these situations, I have always taken the same stance, we're going to need to wait till all of the evidence comes out, all of the factors come out, both sides of the story, because that's really what justice is. Justice isn't taking a 1 minute or 2 minute clip and deciding that determines the fate of 1 to 4 people instantaneously. Just because really, what are you calling for? If you're saying that the justice process isn't justice, well, what do you want to do? You just want to take them out in the street and shoot them right now, right? Like, that's basically what you're saying you want to do. That's not justice. There's a process, and comparatively, if you were to be in the same situation, you wouldn't have a trial this quick. You wouldn't be going. That would sit. You may be a year out before you even get a trial. They're putting the pedal to the metal to get this done because they want it to be over with. I think that when we look at the evidence that comes out, we'll have a clear perspective. I'm reserving all opinion about the actual thing until I know more about it. I heard there was an autopsy done and the reports were that route. I haven't really got around to figuring out what I think about that. I know that they talk about something about they could have possibly knew each other. So there's some more dynamic to that. I heard that he was complaining about he couldn't breathe before they ever put hands on him. So he could have been already in medical distress, and then what they did made it worse. I think my issue comes from the narrative that this is a common occurrence, that there is someone dying on a routine and regular basis from abuse of power from a police officer to the level that it means you burn down or try to burn down every major city in the country. I believe it does happen. We need to address it when it does happen. But statistically, if I want to be honest with you, me going down into Detroit tonight, even without a riot, I have a much higher percentage of getting shot and killed and robbed or whatever than a cop coming up and just deciding out of the blue to assault me and kill me for no reason. Now, and this is the problem, people have a hard time kind of internalizing statistics. If the statistics say something that they don't feel in their heart, they usually don't trust the statistics. It's kind of like I used to listen to Adam Carolla a lot when I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, just because I like his style, and he also does like home improvement stuff, and I'm kind of a nerd like that. But he was saying that, people just can't understand facts and data. He was saying, the likelihood that your kid goes into someone else's house, finds a gun, and mistakenly shoots themselves are far, far less than the number of kids who fall into their open swimming pool and drown each year. You will have PSAs, you will have public talkings, you will have all of this concerned around the idea of keeping your guns safe, locking your guns away, don't let kids touch guns. You have almost nothing about don't let your kids swim in pools by themselves, don't leave back doors open, childproof the, put a defibrillator near the, because that happens way more than what we want to obsess and what we want to talk about. And I think that's just because like you said, we lose perspective, we lose nuance. And when you do that, the emotions take over, and that's what's important. And I just think that that's not how you run a country. That's not how you run a protest. That's not how you organize based off pure emotion. You can't do it that way because you won't have the support. The people sitting back like me looking at the situation, I'm not for that, because you didn't really base this on anything in reality. You base it on how you feel. And if I don't feel that way, I can't support you. So. Right.
And the thing I have the most problem with is the whites, the white liberals. I don't like, out of all the shit that I talk about, about different races, white liberals bother me more than anybody. Mostly because of dishonesty. Mm-hmm. Mostly because of dishonesty. The statistics, as far as let's talk about just specifically 2017, because I think because of that goddamn website, I can't fucking understand.
I can't find 2019 stats. I'll pull them up on my end. We'll pull them up. Well, let's look at them together like homework. Well,
at the very least, 2017, 53% of the murders were committed, of the murder arrests were black men. The population for were black people. The population for blacks at that point was 13, maybe 14. You're talking about, even if half of those black men who were arrested were just doing nothing wrong, and the evil white officer, are you fucking, even if half of that, even if you said half of the cops were just being evil racists, it still would be way above what it should be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I definitely agree. And I kind of tie that to what you said about liberals being annoying. It's because when you live in an African American city like Detroit or any major city like that, there's levels to this. There's levels to what people are experiencing. I had older parents. My grandparents were older, so they had a much older perspective as to what was going on. Those people want the police presence. They don't want to fear going outside and getting in their car and getting robbed. They see the crime and who's committing the crime. There are a lot of people, the majority of people are trying not to be victims. You do have a vocal minority who are on Twitter. You know, I kind of like the Sean Kings of the world and stuff like that.
Oh, what a piece of shit. Oh, what a piece of shit. Anyway, continue. That white motherfucker. Ah!
You know, who's essentially trying to be like a white Al Sharpton of the day, right? Like he's trying to use his, leverage to, and a lot of the stuff we're hearing about is because of him, and then celebrities share what he says and what he thinks, and then it goes to the masses. Because I see memes pop up almost instantly, like something pop up, and then I'm like, why am I seeing people comparing the rioting to the Boston Tea Party? Like, this is the most asinine thing I've ever seen, is because someone fucking tweeted it and then everyone just ran with it. And I'm like, I'm like shaking, because I'm like, how did we get here? Like, how can, like, for one, how did so many people not pass American history to not understand the significance of the Boston Tea Party and what they did versus what we're seeing now, which is just people getting free shit? Like, that's the first thing. But that's how it happens. Someone goes out and they say that they speak for a large part of the community, and they don't. But people who don't live in the community don't know that. They think that Sean King or a few other select people are speaking for the majority of Black people in the community, and they're not. They're speaking to a Twitter audience. They're speaking to a Facebook audience. And so what happens is that they get all bent out of shape. They go down in the city, because like a lot of these incidents, the people getting arrested are not the people that live in the city. There's videos out of Black people stopping white Antifa type people from spray painting on buildings and doing things like that. And she's telling the truth. She said, you do not live here. You are going to get us blamed for the shit you're doing. And they kicked them the fuck out, because they thought they were saviors and they thought they were helping. But the community is like, we need a police presence. We need them to show up on time. When we call the cops, it's because something's really happening. We're not caring, we're not being caring about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you white piece of shit. I love that. I love it, dude. So much fun to me.
So so that's what happened. So even here in Detroit, when I looked at a lot of the live footage, the people doing the most were the suburban white kids. The people doing the most were people that clearly didn't live in Detroit. Maybe, like, there were people coming from towns I've never even heard of, and I've lived here for a very long time. There are towns way out that I couldn't even point to them on a map of Michigan where the hell they are, coming down specifically to Detroit to create a problem. And I can't say for sure who they are, but who's been doing this for the past 3-4 years now, right? Who could possibly dress in all black with masks on their face? Because now it's like they blend in. But who has possibly been doing this whole time? And it's these activist networks that queue up. I actually follow Black Lives Matter. They send me emails because they think I'm like one of them. But just to see what the hell they're talking about, they're signing petitions to defund the entire police department across all of the United States. That's their goal. That's what they want you to sign up for. Wow. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. Detroit had 237 murders last year. A large majority of them are unsolved, and you want to defund the police department in a mostly black community. So, like, you want that? That's how you're gonna help black people? Like, it's like completely asinine. Like, it's completely. It just makes no sense.
It feels so good. I've had a couple of private conversations with a couple of white women because I love white women. But anyway, I think it's that weird 40% or 45%.
Thought of Blazing Saddles.
Right. But I've had a couple of conversations with these people who have like, I mean, they are confused. They want to help. But they don't know, they don't think that it's exactly true. I had a conversation with a white lady today, and she is a teacher, and she talked about one time she was in liberal Bay Area, and she had it was this intense training with other teachers, and then during the training, at the end of the training, in order to talk about racial injustices and social injustices, they had all this group of teachers. Okay, please stand up if you're a person of color. Now, please stand up if you were the first person in your family who went to college. Okay, now please stand up and all these people are standing up, right? And she's like sitting there, essentially feeling like, well, yeah, but my just because, I mean, I'm not, she's a white lady, right? But she's like, but the only reason why why I'm not the first person to go to college is because my dad at 21 years old was literally had me in tow with him. I was with him as a baby. Right. To fucking college. Is that not a hardship enough for you, motherfucker? I've seen my dad. She told me, I've seen my dad arrested tons of times because of mental illness. Is that not enough of a fucking hardship for you? All of these, it's these well-meaning white people who are being led around by the nose by their emotions, by black people. Honestly, black women. Let's be fucking real. I love you, black women, but shit. Black women are like walking hearts, all emotion, and we need that sometimes. We need black women to be so beautiful and like loving and so nurturing, but sometimes we need fucking logic, dude. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Candace Owens. Sometimes, not that I agree with everything the motherfucker says, but Jesus.
Yeah.
But like it's white people being led around by the nose because they don't know any better, because they don't know enough blacks. When I saw Will Sasso earlier today on Instagram, he said, just listen to black people, period. It's like, okay. And I commented, it's like, okay, what about the black voices who disagree with you? What about the black voices who disagree with Sean King? What about the black voices who think that they want justice for George, but they don't think it's racial? Shall we listen to them? And then at the very end, I was like, and by the way, I'm 45, 50% white, so you should only listen to 50% of what I have to say. Fuck you, dude.
Right. You touched on a couple different things that and for one, I think just going back to Patrice O'Neal and what you said about the relationship between black men and black women, Patrice O'Neal also covered a lot of that correctly. So I was like, oh shit, this is the first motherfucker that's saying kind of what a lot of black men feel about their relationships with black women. That's another topic. But I think, yes, you're right. It comes from not knowing enough black people, but also only knowing black people within a certain context. I went from a community which had no black people. And when I went to college, that's when I got all my black friends. That's where I understood anything about black culture. But all of you guys have the same, you're not diverse in thought because you're getting taught by the same teachers. So this is where black liberals and white liberals link up. And so they don't experience the full plethora of diversion of thought in the black community, because for a long time in the black community, there was a division between older and younger. I remember my grandfather, like I said, being older, one of the things he hated was people coming through the neighborhood blaring loud stereos. Like that was something that older black people absolutely hated. And I remember we were at a stoplight and somebody pulled up and they were, blasting a stereo. My grandfather was like pissed off and he rolled up the window. The guy next to him rolled down his window and said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, and turned his radio down. There is no way in hell that's happening in 2020, because we've let a lot of things slip. We let a lot of standards of behavior slip. Now we don't respect our older generation. We don't listen to them as much. We don't understand their perspective. And some of them have a little bit more of a vitriolic perspective when it comes to race relations, because they lived in the 60s, they lived in the 50s. My grandmother's like almost 100 and something. So she lived at a time where shit was really rough. But at the same time, she still had a family, had a house, had, 4 kids, relatively successful, as successful as you could be. So when I see people today saying that they can't make it, it's 2020, you have an iPhone, you have brand new Jordans, you have a satellite dish, you can't do better for yourself. I'm like, bullshit, look at this. But they're not talking. Those people that are kind of in that Twitter minority that are very, militant, kind of pro-black, they're not talking to the people that came before them and said, hey, all of these things may be true, but you can still make a change for yourself and make a difference for yourself. And like you said, people on the outside are being led by the nose, and what they're telling black people is that, you know what, you are right, you are a victim, you can't make it. By the way, vote for me because I'll fix all that. You know what I'm saying? That's the twist, is that if you vote for me, I'll come in and make everything better. Okay, so why are all of our Democratic cities burning? You know, Detroit has a black police chief, a pretty diverse police department. You'll see a lot more black police officers than you see white police officers in Detroit. City council's black. The Department of Education, majority black as far as the council and everything there. We had our first white mayor since 1963, a couple years ago. From that standpoint, all black mayors going all the way back to Conley and I, which controversial figure, but you know, he like I said, in the 1960s, different world. So why aren't these cities?
Never even heard of him.
I will say, look him up on YouTube. You will see some shit. It is absolutely glorious. Absolutely.
What's his name again, you said?
Coleman A. Young. He was probably, since the 1960s, he was like the longest tenured mayor in Detroit. So a lot of my early childhood and stuff like that, I can't remember how many terms he was in, but it was a long time. It was like plus 10 years, I think, where he was a mayor of Detroit. And, you know, no nonsense, straight off the hip, like, people would appreciate him today because he calls things how it is. You know, controversial, no doubt, had some skeletons in the closet for sure, but motherfucker was real as shit when he called it how he called it, and at the time he called it. So yeah, I think a lot of the problem is going back further than that. They don't really understand the culture fully. They only understand a small chunk of the culture, and from there they make a lot of assumptions, and they think that they're helping when they're really hurting. And you know, that's kind of the situation I think we're in. That's why you have so much of a vitriolic relationship as far as the races are concerned, because the people in the black community are so convinced that white police officers and white society in general is just out to get them. They literally feel this way. I think it's sad, but I don't know how you convince people who are so convinced of something because they feel it in their heart that, you know, the statistics don't bear it out. You can preach to them about it, that, hey, man, if you just do what you need to do and don't worry about it, you'll be okay. It's hard to convey that. I'm not even sure how to. So
it's a great episode. You should go check out the rest of it. When you're not subscribing or rating or reviewing or leaving a comment or next up is a clip from episode 111. This is a conversation I had with New York comedian Remy Kassimir. Funny gal, and we had a talk about orgasms and her podcast, and also popping pimples. Enjoy.
You don't have to worry about the other person feeling bad. Like, that shouldn't be your concern. It's if you had a good time during the sex. Sometimes an orgasm just won't happen. Yeah. But like, this girl wrote me recently, and she was like, I'm having a problem. My boyfriend can only come once, and it's really frustrating me. And I was like, well, back up. I was like, first of all, what do you mean? Like, he can only come once? Like, he's got a long refractory period. He can only fuck, and then he has to go to sleep. Right. And she's like, yeah. And then he'll, like, fuck me for longer, and he can't come again. And I feel like his dick is, like, challenging me. And I was like, this is so much to unpack. Yeah. But I was like, first of all, does he have a problem with not coming again? She goes, no, he's fine. And I said, so what's the issue? She's like, I just want to do it again. I'm like, but if that's the way his body works, then like, that's a weird challenge. Like, one of the things that like I've major like mind-blowing thing from the pod is that like, I used to think I was broken if I couldn't come from penetration. Only 8 to 25% of women can. What? So like, most women, if they want to make a guy feel good, will fake an orgasm when he's just pumping away, and then he'll think for next time that that's all he needs to do. And then for the next girl who can't do it, he'll either get mad or frustrated when that's a thing that girl number one couldn't even do. And probably all the girls pre-number, you know, like... So yeah, Dan Savage says the campfire rule is leave everyone better than you came in. You know, like with a campfire, if like, have you ever like gone camping?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, like leave only footprints, and take only pictures.
Like leave everything clean. Like don't get the bathroom all gross. Don't leave your food or all around. Like, leave the campfire how you found
Patrice
it.
used to say, don't drink her last Snapple.
Yeah. If there's a string cheese wrapper from the person before, clean that up. Why not? Leave it equal or better than when you came.
Right.
Lying about coming is leaving that person worse at sex.
Right. And here's the thing, too. One of the things that really fucks with me when it comes to that stuff is it's amazing how often, like, sometimes you're feeling it and you just get right in.
Yeah.
And you're just, But sometimes, especially the first time with somebody, your brain, a guy's brain will be like, all right, wait, am I not hard enough? Oh no. And as soon as you fucking think anything about an erection, it's just like, and so I'm like pumping away.
That's
just
how we feel about wetness too. Oh my God. If I'm like super dry, I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Oh no. Okay, but even if you, have you had times where you are super turned on and not as dry? Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
I think everybody's just in their head, and like that's what I've been like. How Come feels to me like the great equalizer, because I'm like, oh my God, everyone is just as scared and just as self-conscious as I was.
Right.
And also, like, when people get offended if somebody can't come, it's like, dude, it wasn't you. It's literally me. It's Remy and her brain. And yeah, so that was another thing that people that used to accuse my boyfriend of being bad at sex when I first came out with the podcast. They're like, oh, Ben must be bad at fucking. And I'm like, no, I lived with my body for like 26 years before I met him. That's like being like, hey, I've never figured this thing out. It's a 9-sided Rubik's Cube. Can you figure it out? Also, you're naked.
Right.
Go ahead. That's not fair.
What was the mental stuff that started to click for you? Because obviously it wasn't just finding the right toy or whatever.
Yeah.
Was it the vulnerability side?
It was other people are having this problem. It's not just me. I'm not just like a weird solo freak out here broken and alone.
Right.
Because literally the second I started the podcast, other people shot their little hands up. My friends, like people in my family had been like, yeah, me neither. Like I didn't. And I was like, oh. And then number 2, I think more talk about the mechanics.
Right.
Hole was not the way to go.
Right.
It's all about clit. Specifically, air pulsing, arousing toys. They're like clit suckers.
Yeah.
Little blowjobs for. So nice.
G-spot as well.
Well, G-spot's great. So yeah, that's the other. The mental thing was just knowing, okay, I've not been doing it right. I can fix this. Here are these. I'm not alone. Now, I can just relax. And also, the toy that did it didn't let me in my head anymore. It was like it was like 30 seconds, and I was like squirting and crying. Yeah.
Shit.
It just didn't allow it.
Are they a sponsor of your show now? That's why.
Well, I have. There are several air pulse arousing toys. My favorites are from Plus One, and there's also one from Sweet Vibrations called The Girl's Best Friend, which you can get. Promo code how come 15% off.
Hey.
But yeah, there's the Satisfier, there's the Womanizer was the first one I did. It's way more expensive, but all of them are like so great, and I highly recommend getting them for a lover, because now Ben used to be fucking eating me out for like days and shit, like just trying and sweating, and we were both like having like the worst time, and now I'll just put the thing on, make him hug me and kiss my neck, have like 6 orgasms,
so sweet.
And
so
then
sweet.
I'm like so like done that he's like, well, I've just watched you come, and watching a woman come is really hot to me. So he's hard as a rock. We bang it out for whatever he needs, and then we're both so happy.
Awesome.
It's great.
Was part of the mental stuff. He's thinking about me not coming over and over.
All
and
the time.
The deeper you get into
all
it,
the
the more
time.
it's just like, I'm broken.
I've never done
twisted.
this is never going to happen. Why would it happen now? I'm torturing him. He hates this. Yeah.
I one of the reasons why I started the show was to humanize people of all walks and whatever. Was part of the impetus for your show to humanize people, or you just thought it was an interesting thing? Was it a little bit of both?
I just really wanted to come. I was just
so it was a
so
byproduct
pent
that you were
up.
like, oh, there's other people.
Yeah, I find it really funny and sweet that now people are like, you are doing the Lord's work. You are so great.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I was just a horny bitch
Yeah.
that was about to explode. And I feel like I've really mellowed.
Okay, right, exactly. Hey,
like,
man,
it's so
whatever.
good for my,
Right.
like, psyche and, like, yeah,
It's
I
so
feel.
good for everything.
Yeah, I feel like I can speak up now. Like, I feel like more self-worth. Yeah. And also the humanizing thing. I was just saying this the other day. Like, I really didn't think before hearing about the guy's perspective and their insecurities that we were on equal playing fields, like, or that we could even, like, understand each other. Like, I thought guys were, like, this cool other race that, like, went to a sex school and, like, they were just going to do a bunch of stuff to us, and, like, eventually, like, we'd figure out what that was that we liked, and they were just, like, perfect, and now I'm like, no. Like, I was literally sitting with my boyfriend the other day, and I was like, dude, when I was younger, I would think about, I can't have a boyfriend. Why would a guy want to talk to me for? And like,
See, it's all built into the layers upon layers upon layers of deep ass insecurity. Like you were saying about clits or what did you say? The vaginas are the inverted nipples thing.
Yeah.
It's just like that weirdness about females because it's weirdness about you. It's weirdness about I'm not worthy or I'm not wanted, so I'm gonna put on all this 58,000 fucking masks so that you don't find out who I actually am.
I'm going to pretend to like football because you couldn't possibly like my interests. But now, like, we watch Drag Race together. Okay. Sometimes he'll point out a Real Housewife.
Paul is the great fucking equalizer, okay? That bitch is fucking, I love that.
Did you see my Halloween costume?
Yes, there were several. You should follow her on Instagram.
But, yeah, I did,
where did you
RuPaul
get the teeth
out
yet,
of...
though, for Elton.
Oh, I just drew some eyeliner on my own mouth.
See what we do for art, you cocksuckers, you fucking ungrateful
If they test it on animals, I can eat it.
There you go.
No, don't test on animals, you guys. It's so mean. I love them. I love them.
Straw in the... So, yeah, I wanted to humanize...
Wait, I found a really great alternative for straws, just in case anybody likes the feeling of a plastic straw, but, like, gives a fuck or whatever.
A sucking machine.
Hay straws.
Hay straws.
Made out of hay.
I feel like it's going to be like bamboo.
No, it's like thin, just like plastic.
Okay.
And they don't disintegrate like paper.
Okay.
So good.
That could get stuck in a turtle's nostril.
No, because they break. You can break them up.
Before you throw them out?
Yeah, you can just snap them.
Okay.
And it's actually really fun. And, like, I'm that kind of person that, like, I'm always snapping toothpicks and shit, like, into a million pieces.
Bubble
popping.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a paper clip apart.
Are you a pimple popper as well?
Oh, buddy. Yeah. If you got one, let me add them. No, my dad's a dermatologist, so not only do I pop them, I do it in a way that doesn't scar. I will warm it up so that it opens the skin. I will cut it open so you don't scar, and then I will pop that shit out like a volcano you've never seen.
I don't know if I'm willing to humanize you type of people, but what is what is it about the pimple?
I don't know if it's a pimple specific thing because I'm very fluid interested.
Okay. All right.
So, like, I like to look at cum. I like to look how much period I made. I like to look at my boogers. I like to...
Does it continue to shit? That's what we're all wondering.
Shit?
Yeah.
I shit? What?
No, I'm saying does the interest continue all the way down to...
Oh, to shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not look at your shit after you shit? See what you did today? See what's going on in your body?
Yeah, it's a natural...
Right. You're supposed to check in. Literally.
It's a form of self-care.
Yeah. Like, if you smell... Like, some women will, like, smell their fingers after, like, touching their vaginas or whatever. Like, that's a normal thing to be like... Right. Do I have bacterial vaginismus this week? Like, am I okay? Is my pH doing all... Like, you know when your body's off balance. If your shit is light green, you're like, something's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I've lived with you people before. It's horrible.
You look...
I'm just saying, God bless Monistat. But no, you were saying pimples.
Sucks. Oh, pimples.
Yeah.
Well, pimples.
No, you can talk about fungus if you want. You can talk about
fungus, discharge. The different colors of discharge depending on your cycle. Oh my God. When a discharge looks like a booger, you're like, interesting.
Or females who gave birth years ago but are still have a little discharge out of the nipples.
Oh, I have that, and I've never given birth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Can you squirt it, or is it just
No.
like a tease?
It's like kind of looks like a booger. Like sometimes it'll form, and I just have to like swat it away.
Okay, so your boyfriend doesn't suck on it.
He does, but it is not. It's not that big that he would notice. It like kind of looks like an eye crusty.
Oh, okay. So it's never in liquid form. You don't
No.
know that. Right.
No liquid.
Okay.
But yeah, humans are
pimples.
gross, and pimples are amazing. And I feel honored to be able to be in comedy and be in this time where I can say shit like that.
Right.
And people like won't be like, oh, how uncouth. I'll never invite her to a wedding.
Right.
You know, like it's like I used to be like, I wish I had a secret Instagram to talk about picking boogers. And now I'm just like, my cum looks like this.
So, okay. So is a piece of it, I'm interested in that. Is a piece of it service?
Making somebody come?
No, pimples. Is a piece
Wait,
of it,
what?
are you, when you pop a pimple on somebody,
Yeah.
is a piece of it, I'm doing a service to them, or I'm making them happy, or I'm cleaning this off of them?
Yeah. You know how like
Okay.
like monkeys pick each other?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And also like how bad do pimples hurt? Like I'm like alleviating some pressure.
Last up is a clip from episode 128. And this is actually Mike Harlow. This was the second time he was on my show. He's been on 3 times, of the Walkaway campaign. He's a sweetheart. And we talk about the Walkaway events and what Walkaway is, and also how the LGBT community try to fuck with it. And then we also transition somehow into Scientology. It gets weird. Usually with him, our conversations get weird or sexual or both. So enjoy.
Oh, right. We have to fucking talk about
Oh, yeah.
that.
I haven't seen you since then.
No.
Oh, my God.
No, well, it wasn't. I mean, I didn't notice any crazy bald bitches screaming when I was over there. So I don't
Really?
know. So talk about this event.
What a
So the walkaway movement, for those who don't know, is
people who have walked away from the Democratic Party and the liberal left and become whatever you want. Become a conservative, Republican, independent, libertarian, classical liberal, conservatish like us, which, by the way, that is the best term ever, because that's me, too.
I'm fucking amazing.
You are.
Continue. So Walkaway had an event.
Yeah, so we've had multiple events now, and the one that it's me, Brandon, and Blair White that we do is like the LGBT town hall.
Okay.
So we've now had 4 out of 5 of them canceled.
Wow.
And they'll usually do it right before, where they'll have to we'll have to scramble and just get another venue last minute. They'll cancel like a day or 2 before. And we're
Hold the mic up a
actually
teensy bit closer.
we're actually in a lawsuit right now where we're suing for defamation with our event at the LGBT Center in New York, because they took out a whole smear campaign against us. Like the panel, our speakers at that event were a gay guy, a gay Jew, a transgender woman, and a black gay veteran. And they said this is a group of white supremacist, Nazi, homophobic, transphobic, everything.
Jesus.
So we're suing over that. But anyway, though, so we just had a run in San Francisco, and the venue canceled us literally about 3 hours before doors were about to open.
Now here's my question. With maybe the San Francisco one, because you've had all these events that have been canceled, do you specifically state, motherfucker, we are you're going to get some pushback? Okay.
We're dealing right now with the fallout from our Chicago event, where with them, we checked in over and over and over, and we're like, hey, you're going to get pushback. Are you going to stand up to that? Oh, yeah, no problem. And then, suddenly it's a problem.
I know in San Francisco it wasn't at the Castro Theater. Where was it?
It was at the Women's Building.
It was at the Women's Building in the Mission.
So we'd been rejected by, I think, 12 different venues in San Francisco. We had planned a San Francisco one beforehand, which got canceled like the day after they said it was cool. So that we at least had time in advance. But I think it ended up there just because there were no places left in San Francisco that would have us. But
venues that you need venues with good seats. You need venues, because I'm used to booking venues in San Francisco as well, so I get it. Like, how many people were going to be able to fit in the Women's Building?
I think like 200.
Okay.
But so anyway, so we were like, we're not going anywhere, and we had it right in front. We were like, we're gonna have our event right in front of the building.
Tell me the process. How did you get notified that it was canceled?
I guess they just got a phone call. So we woke up that morning, and Brandon called Blair and I, and we're like, okay, let's meet in the hotel lobby. We need to talk. We're like, oh, we know what this is. Right. It's canceled. Jesus. Well, so actually, though, here's what's interesting. So I don't know if you've heard of Scott Pressler, who does these cleanups. He's amazing. He does. So you know how there was that whole, I think it started because there was that whole controversy with Trump saying how Baltimore is a shithole. Imagine that.
Right. Surprise.
Which
surprise.
everybody knows there's no such thing.
You can look it up very easily. A bunch of really unhappy black people going, this is a shithole. Trump is right. Thank you. You know?
Well, that's the thing is leftists talk so much about black people, they love black people, but it's like it is black people who suffer under their policies in their cities. And just tangent real quick, but it's been bothering me so much that it's like, you look at what's going on with their elections. You look what happened at the Iowa caucus. They are so incompetent. They can't run their cities. They can't run their elections. They can't run their own party. The party is $7 million in debt, but they think they can run the country.
Right.
But I digress. So anyway,
please.
So Scott Pressler, after that happened with Trump, he decided to do this whole cleanup event where he was going to go to Baltimore and have hundreds of volunteers and clean up the city and pick up trash.
Right.
Am I not in the correct
No.
light?
I think I'm like halfway in the frame. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, so he got hundreds of volunteers to clean up the city and has done them in different cities since then. Detroit. A bunch of places, Newark, a bunch of different Chicago.
Has there been a lot of backlash for him in these cities?
So anyway, he was speaking on the panel with us at our event, then earlier in the day he was doing his cleanup of San Francisco. Okay. So we went there initially to his cleanup where Antifa was protesting.
Fun.
These people, all white, by the way, all white.
Of course.
It's so funny how they're a white identitarian group that just happens to also hate white people.
It's so impressive. Somebody earlier today commented something about Amy Sedaris, who I really love, a comedian, posted some video of a clip of white people dancing like a twist in the 50s, and and some white guy was like, oh, look at this, white people trying to have soul. It's just like, would you stop, dude? Would you?
It's always white people shitting on white people.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's always white people who make everything about race.
Or shitty college black. I'll explain real quick. College black is the worst type of black.
It is.
College black, especially when it's a female, because it's always a female. Guys are busy trying to fuck because they're in college and they have a life. And black college female, because they're surrounded by whites who are like, it's amazing you exist. Oh, I'm so sorry for being white. Yeah. They have that power. Oh my God. And that college black female is insufferable,
because you have the victim. None of that shit.
No, black elders, black fucking people who have jobs, black people like real ass motherfuckers. You that bitch is not gonna be comfortable at the cookout. You know what I mean? She's just not a fun person.
No, yeah.
Anyway, continue.
So they protested picking up trash. Right. They protested a cleanup of city, and they're screaming Nazis. And what's interesting too is actually, so our friend JC, I don't know if you know him. He was on Big Brother. He does a bunch of stuff with us. So he was there with us, and he's from, he has a Spanish accent and stuff. Yeah. So they're screaming at him, speak English, and saying all this racist shit to him. Beautiful. And this one guy is telling people to go back where they came from, and so they're saying all the things that they accuse other people of.
Right.
So anyway though, they were furious about that. So then that night, we think we're just gonna have this event in front of the building, but it turns into this giant shit show. Right. Antifa was there. There were literally people with red flags. What are they called? The people who are more extreme than Antifa. That have the red flag. Yes. The black bloc.
I've never even heard of these cocksuckers.
Yeah, they're beyond Antifa. They're
really
beyond Antifa. They had the red flags and the comment. So again, all white, and they're screaming. They're screaming Nazis. That's what I found so funny. So they know nothing about us. It's such a herd mentality that they've just heard we're the bad people, and they've created fictional characters in their head that share our names and faces. But because the things that they're chanting, that they're screaming about, we don't disagree with. They're chanting no Nazis. Yeah, no Nazis.
Yeah, I agree.
No KKK. Yeah, no KKK.
Right, we agree
Black
with
Lives
you.
Matter. Yes, they do.
Right, right.
Who are you arguing with?
Right.
And so that's where the now famous screaming bald lady was. Oh, they punched a drag queen.
Oh, fun.
One of them punched a drag queen.
Do you know who it was? Or are you allowed to...
You mean the drag queen?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, both.
The drag queen was Lady MAGA. Who's such a sweet person. She gave us she had gift bags for us and wrote us letters about her. She's so sweet. But yeah, somebody punched her and it was crazy. It's I honestly will just never forget seeing the hatred in their eyes. I've never seen anything like it.
That chick, that screaming lady, you know who she looked like? Did you ever see Minority Report?
No, I avoid Tom Cruise movies.
Why? You don't like watching other gay
guys?
guys?
I'm gonna start jumping on the couch and being like, "I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I'm not gay."
You get a car.
John Travolta.
I'm very much like a. Oh my God, Travolta! Why can't you just fucking come out? What's so fucking bad about being gay? It's 2020.
Caught with too. The little rub and tug.
Yeah. And his poor wife. It's just Anyway, what
actually?
What were you saying?
I have a funny John Travolta story.
Sure.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but I am listed as a suppressive person for the Church of Scientology.
Oh, really? What's a suppressive person?
So Church of Scientology has a list of people who are enemies of the church. That if you're a Scientologist,
I wish I could be on it. Hey, Scientologist, eat my dick. You're fucking wrong. Would you add me to your list now, please?
Oh my God! I'm covered in thetans. I'm an alien.
Right, I don't have a fucking lizard person inside my bald head. Can you add me to the list, cocksuckers? Small god cocks. Fucking hate those. I hate Scientologists.
They're disgusting.
Ew.
Oh shit! I shouldn't say this.
Just be gay, Scientologists. It's okay. Just be gay.
You know what's funny? I wrote a thing about. I shouldn't say this. I wrote a thing before I was banned on Twitter. I wrote a thing about how Scientology is a cult, and somebody who is, I would say who, but somebody who is apparently a well-known Scientologist wrote me a thing and was very upset and sent me information packets on Scientology.
Wow. Wait, but you don't want to share who?
She's a nice person. Don't feel bad. People know who I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about.
I know who it is. Yeah, but I thought she left, or maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
They can't leave. They never leave. That's the thing. If you leave, you're a suppressive person, and then your family cuts you off. Your friends cut you off.
They'll dig through your trash.
Your parents. Oh yeah.
So I actually I don't know if I shared it on our last episode, but I actually did I did have an experience with Scientology. I was 17 years old. And I was living at this place where they say, go get a job. And I'm not going to get a fucking, why would I do that? And I was dating / really I'd fooled around with her a couple of times. Actually, a chick who I had, the only times we fucked, I fucked her in the ass in a public bathroom. Actually, once in my stepmom's bathroom and once in a public. I'm a piece of shit. I keep telling you. It's only gotten worse since then. Right, I've never gotten head in a car in the fucking. Anyway, so we fucking public place, and she had told me, well, and I hadn't gotten a job. They're gonna kick me out. So she was like, you can come to my job. So I go to her job. She works at the Church of Scientology.
Oh fuck.
Okay, so I had gone to this place, and I start filling out
literally
this
just went to go smoke
application.
the microphone, by the way.
Right. I know there's cylindrical things near your mouth. You have to just shove it in. Don't choke on my microphone. You're like, I don't choke. But so I go and I start filling out this application. And I just want to fill out a fucking job application. No, but here's the deal. There's all these questions about, have you ever done illegal drugs? What kind of street illegal drugs have you done? Have you ever engaged in illegal sex? With whom? What's your mother's maiden? Like all kinds of weird fucking shit. So I start redacting. I'm like, all right, this is fucking no.
Smart.
And I go up to the desk. I'm like, I'm only going to fill out like a couple of things. Like I'm not. She's like, oh, that's fine. So I was like, okay. I fill out like my name. Like, and that's it. Like, I give her my shit. She's like, okay, cool. She takes me into a little movie theater. Okay?
Oh no,
So
that's how they get you. It's like the meaning of life according to L. Ron Hubbard.
That's not how they got my fucking ass. So they start showing me a movie, and it starts talking about how L. Ron was talked shit about by the CIA, and they were after him, and like all this stuff. And I'm getting creeped out. I'm by myself in a movie theater. I'm looking around, and I see this little like exit door. So I snuck out, I remember like trying to act casual as I'm walking by, like just like, no,
Like a
don't
fucking
chase me,
cartoon.
please. Everything's fine. And I got the fuck out of there. She was very mad at me, my person who I was fucking. And
She didn't fuck you after that.
I don't think we did. Oh no, we did. Years later,
Did she leave?
we also fucked again in a public bathroom, but this time in the pussy.
Yay!
And
you figured out where to put it.
listen, actually, the first time my virginity was in conflict because I had fucked her
What
in
do
the
you mean in
ass.
conflict?
I was a virgin before
You
that.
didn't know where to put it.
No, I did. Listen, she guided me there. I'm just excited. Someone's touching my dick. Like, I don't know what's happening. She guided me in her ass. I didn't realize I was fucking her in the ass until the second time, which was a public bathroom. By the way, 2 seconds, maybe a minute after we had left the public bathroom, a mom and her kids go in. All the things we do for love, right, kids? Subscribe. And I had.
By the way, I love how we were talking about this last time. Not on camera, but I love how we were saying too. Just imagining, I think sometimes about the people who friend request me on Facebook.
Oh, that's what I'm saying,
and
dude.
don't know much about me. They just expect me to be like, God bless America, and
Right.
I look at their page and they've got like a bald eagle and the
Dude,
Virgin Mary, and I'm
it's
like,
not gonna work out,
I'm
man.
not going to be
That's
your
what I'm
cup of
saying.
tea.
I'm not. I'm too conservative for the liberals and too liberal for the
and too
conservatives.
hoary for the conservatives.
Right? Can't I like guns, be weirded out about abortion,
And be a whore.
love gay people, and be a whore? Like, can it be? Why does it have to be one side or another?
Conservatish.
We are conservatish.
They're
okay,
fucking
so
nuts, though, the Scientologists.
they really are.
Oh,
They're
yeah, so-
real fucked up creepies.
Yeah, so I'm a suppressive person.
Okay.
I'm on their list. So, and
What do they do with that list? That's what I know. They dig through trash. I knew they do some
you
weird
can't-
shit.
Is that if you're a Scientologist, you can't associate with suppressive person SPs. So if that's your kids,
SPs.
if that's your parents, done.
Nice.
Like, they break up families, they do. What I don't understand, too, not naming any names, but I don't understand how you have these people who are like hardcore conservatives and hardcore pro-life, and then there's Scientologists who have literally forced women to have abortions.
I've never even heard of this. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So I don't understand that. That's a whole other fucking level of cognitive dissonance.
Right.
So that's a hard word to say. Cognitive
is.
dissonance.
Especially when you're. I thought
I'm sober.
I thought S's would be easier for you to say because they just roll off the.
I just like.
Yes. I love that fucking lispy queers for free speech.
Boom.
That's a great shit.
But wait. So anyway,
Yes.
so I'm an SP, right?
Okay.
So anyway, my grandfather was like a singer.
Okay.
So they've been talking for a while. They're going to make a movie about him. So John Travolta was supposed to play him in this movie about him. So I get a call that they want that I'm going to like go to lunch with John Travolta and his people and shit because they want to like do research or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. So then suddenly like this was planned for maybe like 2 weeks.
How long ago?
I don't know, maybe like a year ago.
Okay.
So anyway, the day before it abruptly gets canceled and like they're very nasty on the phone and like just done, not happening. So I was like, that was kind of weird. What happened? I find out after it's because I'm a fucking suppressive person. He's not allowed to be in the same room as me.
Didn't that cocksucker? And I literally do mean cocksucker. It's
Yeah,
okay
literal
to suck
cocksucker.
cock. Didn't that
I can
cocksucker do
confirm.
a movie about John fucking Gotti and he's not a suppressive person? Like his fucking.
It doesn't matter if John Gotti killed people as
Wow.
long as he didn't fucking make
talk
fun
shit
of
about the
Scientologists.
Scientologists.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, wow. See, anybody with that much, that's some small god shit. I always talk about like if any Islam who's a little too fucking serious about his fucking Islaminess, like any Christian who's like you can't make fun of the Catholic Church, any of that cocksuckery, I have no fucking patience for. That's some small god shit. If your God can't handle other people making fun of it, your God's too fucking small.
Yeah.
Suck my dick.
I actually just went to go see a couple weeks ago the Book of Mormon, and I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Good on the Mormons for being able to take a joke and not trying to like get it shut down and not picketing outside the fucking
I
theater.
hope they didn't.
Good on
Yeah,
them.
did they?
No, not
because
at
it's
all.
been out
Not
for
at
like
all.
10 years. No,
No, not at all.
Good for
like,
them.
Good for them.
Yeah, they just
Can
wear
you
their.
imagine
They
if
mind
they
their own
had-
business and wear that weird underwear and fucking go for it.
Can you imagine if they had a musical, The Book of Muhammad? What would happen
I
from the
can't
religion
wait.
of peace?
See, the real sad
We should
part
write
is
that.
the real sad part is that the fucking Matt and Trey like did stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the only one they actually took down. I think was they took down or they made an episode and then took it down.
Well, they protested
where
where
they had
like Comedy
they had
Central
Muhammad
made them.
because, but no, they at first protested, but I think they actually were willing to take it down because they got sent where they live.
Oh, that's right.
They got sent. We know where the fuck you live. That's some
Fucking
terrifying
scary.
shit. Imagine
The
your
religion
God
of
being
peace.
so small
Yeah.
that you have to threaten somebody, and if a girl is wearing jeans, you can beat her in the streets.
Yeah.
That's some small God shit, man. And I hope that really hurts their feelings. Like the small amount of Muslims who will ever run across this fucking.
yes, all
I
of them.
really hope it hurts their feelings.
Our fucking apartments are gonna
me,
blow up.
Right,
the
just like me
second
talking
you put
about
this up.
fucking putting my dick in a fucking 19-year-old's butthole in a public.
Oh yeah, you were already
probably
like
makes a
not
lot of-
haram.
No, I'm not halal. Right? No one's. What is halal, by the way? Do they pray over the meat?
Haram.
I know, but what's halal? I'm confused.
There's different things.
Oh, all right. Well, it's been only 6 days.
I
I've
think
been without
halal
cigarettes.
is like has
Don't they
something
pray
to
over
do
the
with
meat?
how,
They bless the meat or some shit.
it has something to do with how they kill. Like they slit its throat a certain way. I don't fucking know.
All right. So
know,
you
all
got
that
put on a
fucking
list.
mystical shit.
No. Okay. So let's follow the breadcrumbs.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
where
follow
were
the
we?
gay breadcrumbs back to.
San Francisco.
Yes.
Wow. There's
We
been like
really
a
went
whole.
off
That was
there.
a whole fucking.
The
tangent.
chapters of our. This is. You know what our episode is right now? It's Pulp Fiction. We're just circling back. That's all it is. With also John Travolta's in it.
Oh.
God, I'm
6
good.
degrees of literally Hitler.
Yeah.
That's what our show should be.
Literally Hitler. Fucking double Hitler. Oh, it's great. So you touched down in San Francisco. Brandon gave you the bad news.
Shithole.
And then
What a
yeah,
dumb.
it's not great.
When I got, and you know what's a shame too is how nice
where was
it
your
could
hotel
be.
there?
What's that?
Where was your hotel?
Oh, what the fuck was it called? I forget what it was called. It was really
Okay.
nice.
Was it in the Tenderloin?
Oh, I got it on with.
Of course you did. Don't cover the fucking microphone, cocksucker. Of course we need to talk about that. Anyway.
And that. Okay, wait. I have a story.
All right.
Go on.
Do you want to go
Sorry.
on the tangent first?
No,
Let's go
no,
on the tangent
no, I'm not
first.
going on
Are
another
you going to be able to
tangent
come
about
back
who
to
was
it?
banging.
Or, okay. So you do. So I love my show. So you do. So
You're like, by the way, you are like the indie Howard Stern because you get people to just say whatever.
because I'm a comfortable man and I'm smart and I'm hilarious and I'm very humble too.
Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Share this with your friends. Find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. Find me on TikTok at Conservatish. Find me on Patreon at patreon.com/Conservatish. And also on Facebook and Twitter and all that bullshit. I love you so much. See you soon.